2017, the microtransactioning, was a time of very high highs and very low lows. It was also a time of many colons. 2017 was a year of corporate fuckery and despicable business practices, but it was also a year of exciting breakthroughs in the indie scene. It was a year of broken and battered games that had been chopped to pieces, but it was also a year of fully fleshed out experiences with tens or hundreds of hours of playtime in store. Despite the fact that loot boxes and predatory business practices are at an all-time high, I feel comfortable saying that finally, I think we had a good year, at least in terms of game releases. 2017 was the first time in 3 years that I actually had trouble picking which 10 games were the best, and it was also the first time where I didn't have to pad out number 10 on my list with either a Call of Duty or Battlefield game, which just makes me feel all warm inside. That all being said, it's that time of year again, folks. It's time for me to throw my hat into the ring and jump face first into this flaming fucking dog pile of 50,000 random white male YouTubers ranting about their top 10 games of 2017. Thanks for choosing my list. I know it wasn't easy getting here. Let's begin!
Climbing. To fall properly, you need to get high. This instructional video was prepared for everyone who does not feel high enough and is ready to do something about their situation.
In Human Fall Flat, you're slapped in the body of an existentially faceless entity with the motor skills of a drunken toddler. Gifted with this, shall we say, limited skill set, you're tasked with conquering a variety of different levels, all tied together with the visual theme of stock assets. You can use a wide variety of techniques to lead your floppy man to his floppy goals. Anything from using the environment to your advantage, to finding a hidden shortcut, to just getting lazy and using your reluctant friend's body as a stopper for a giant mechanism, before leaving them for dead. I'm sure this footage makes the game look like the dumbest goddamn thing ever, so don't worry. I can confirm right now that it definitely is. Despite being mechanically simple, bereft of any sort of narrative, and absurd as all get out, Human Fall Flat was home to some of my most white-knuckle gaming moments of 2017. Controlling the most basic movements of the doped-up doughboys is easy to learn but hard to master, so I'm sure you can imagine how frustrating the later levels can get when you're doing things like operating massive cranes and driving speedboats. If you can snatch this one up for cheap like I did, I fully recommend doing so, because it also has split screen, and that shit's the bomb. Prey (2017), also known as Not Prey, was a very mixed bag. Over the course of its 20-hour runtime, this game made me both want to jump for joy and repeatedly punch a baby in the head. There are some very compelling aspects of Prey. The level design is phenomenal, the poltergeist enemies are genuinely petrifying, and using that coagulated spooge gun is not an experience I'll be forgetting anytime soon. But in the end, Prey falls short of greatness at just about every turn. As a huge fan of the studio, I feel like Arcane sort of preyed on my goodwill with this one, as every pro within Space Honored comes with an equally glaring con. The level design is great when you're in it, but there's so much backtracking in the last half of the game that the whole affair turns into a fucking loading screen simulator. The poltergeists are dope, but the combat in this game is so clunky that it makes dealing with any combat encounter a fucking chore and a half. The giant spitball launcher is fun for a time, but it doesn't sustain your interest for the 20+ hours it's by your side. Prey is full of a lot of good ideas, and quite a few of them are executed expertly. But if you're gonna invite comparisons to stone cold classics like System Shock and BioShock, you better be prepared to back that shit up. You gotta come locked and loaded with finely tuned and innovative gameplay, as well as a surprising, intriguing, and rock-solid story. Sadly, Prey's plot is none of those three things, and by the end is filled with so many gaping holes that I felt like I was trapped in eyes wide shut. The last half of the script feels like the producers hacked it to pieces with a fucking weaponized cheese grater, and by the time I got to the whole "Earth was conquered the whole time" reveal, I just couldn't muster up half a fuck. 60 years ago called. Planet of the Apes wants its twist back, motherfuckers. I'm talking mad shit about this game right now, but it's only because I care. Dishonored 2 landed at my #1 slot last year, so it hurts that Arcane's follow-up felt lackluster in comparison to me. I'm still a huge fan. I still love the company with all my goddamn heart. But y'all motherfuckers need to fix this. You can't keep putting out products that are literally broken. Products that force outlets to give them a 4 out of 10 on release because they can't even finish the goddamn game. Get on the ball, guys! Who doesn't love shooting Nazis right in their cockles? Not me, that's for damn sure. Let's take a look at some Nazis whose cockles exploded in 2017. that's enough of that. But really though, it's not, because Sniper Elite, what are we on now, 4? Sniper Elite 4 is, from start to finish, entirely an elaboration upon America's favorite pastime since 1941, popping Nazi testicles. And the return of the Dictionnaire hails a vast array of quality of life improvements and gameplay tweaks, ranging from small things like more responsive movement and menu interaction to medium things like new slow-mo kill cams for explosives. It's kind of the exact same game as Sniper Elite 3, honestly. But hey, now you're in chateaus and villages and shit, and that's fun, that's a good change of scenery. At this point, Sniper Elite is basically the video game equivalent of that old smelly couch that's way too comfortable to throw out. If you want a reliable, replayable stealth game and you're also into sniping, exploding, shooting, or stabbing Nazis, you'll definitely get a kick out of this one. Fun fact about me, I'm actually one of the 46 people in the country who likes Resident Evil 6, so yeah, come on, I'll take all you motherfuckers on! So I personally wanted Capcom to stick with Resident Evil 6's bombastic, nutso take on the series, but hey, I'll never turn my nose up at a classic stripped-back spookhouse experience, and that's exactly what Resident Evil 7 offers. Sure, the game does get quite a bit more insane when you get to the DLC in which you play as the heretofore unmentioned test tube clone of Grizzly Adams spliced with a silverback gorilla, but before you step into the meaty boots of Joe Baker and #NotMyChris, you play the role of an unequipped, untrained civilian, as opposed to the usual burlap sack filled with stakes. This innocent, cherub-faced lad goes by the name of Ethan, and he's on a quest to save his lady okay, no, just shoot her in the face, just keep shooting her in the face! Resident Evil 7 starts off strong as fuck, and does kinda peter out as it goes along, but those first 3 hours or so are more than worth the price of admission, as are most of the Baker family boss battles. It's really nice to see Resident Evil take a step back to its horror roots, while also managing to recapture what made the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre so great. Coming in at number 6, sadly not even cracking the top 5, is Shadow of the Palantir.
The Palantir.
The Palantir is Arkham, sir. Palantir.
For the Palantir.
The Palantir.
The Palantir.
Not without the Palantir.
Okay,
The Palantir.
we get it! Look, I love Troy Baker as much as the next guy, but that man's whispering just gets out of hand in this game. There's a scene in Shadow of War that is like a fucking whisper off.
Your legend holds true, Celebrimbor.
This ring is different. We can use it to defeat Sauron.
I strike down men corrupted by these rings. Do not become one of them.
When the time comes, I will do what is needed.
Perhaps.
Jesus Christ, has Tolkien really come to this? Do these people really think that the essence of Tolkien's work is fucking decapitations and hilarious voices? I get it, Andy Serkis set the precedent. Everybody feels like they gotta have a weird-ass voice to stand out and shit, but this... oh my god, this is too much.
Cease all cry and clamor.
You have woken Torgorot, cracked and creviced until now. Burn you, burn we. A fire for all.
What are you saying? I come to Tolkien for the compelling characters with rich backstories and interesting personality traits, but what I got was stuck on you with a foppish ghost and the tragic love story between a giant spider and an evil suit of armor. What the fuck am I watching here? Why am I not just skipping all of these cutscenes? In any case, let's talk about the highlight of Shadow of War, the moment-to-moment gameplay, which is based around stealthing and stabbing your way through Mordor as the odd man-in-man couple of Talion and California Pizza Kitchen? I'm just gonna call him Caleb. Caleb Bowl Brim. Caleb Brim Bowl. Hey, he's Caleb. He's the brim of the bowl. Is somebody burning some toast right now? Look, I could spend all day breaking down the gameplay and the Nemesis system and all the weird additions and subtractions that have taken place within the game's core design, but instead, I'd like to take a little bit of time out of your day to talk to you about Gubu. Gubu the Diseased was an orc I came across in my first hour of gameplay, and the moment I saw him, the moment I laid eyes on that lovable smile, I knew he had to be my best buddy. But Shadow of War doesn't give you the ability to subjugate orcs through mind rape until about 6 hours into the game, so I had to just let him be for the moment. I kept my distance. Flash forward roughly 300 hours of gameplay. I've grown a full fucking beard. I look like Theoden.
Hey, how you doing, little mama? Let me whisper in your ear.
I'm finally making my way back to Minas Morgul, armed to the teeth, with all kinds of high-level weaponry and armor. Now listen, up to this point, Shadow of War wasn't shit. I had been breezing through this fucking game like a sunny Sunday stroll, and I knew all I'd have to do was infiltrate the city, get my guy Gubu, and get the fuck out. But I was not prepared for the gale of gore that was Gubu. Over and over again, Gubu got my goose. I hadn't been killed in tens of hours. I was the fucking ghost man, guys. But this godforsaken Uruk sent me on a wild Gubu chase like I've never known. I had actually cut this motherfucker's head off at one point out of pure frustration, and he came back literally 15 minutes later with that shit sewed back on. What the fuck, Gubu? I didn't know what to do. Cutting this motherfucker's head off seemed to be at most a mild inconvenience. So I really geared up after like 5 deaths in a row and went after him in full force at the tippity top of a tower, and we ended up on a rooftop after 5 or 10 minutes of battle. I knew this was the time. I knew I was finally gonna subjugate Gubu after multiple hours of tracking down this bulbous pussy cocksucker, and we were going to be best friends. I was going to make him my best friend, and then...
inside you that won't heal. Use that.
Oh, Gubu! And RevDogg, the careless bastard, he stops to give me like fucking life advice. I didn't ask for that shit! Honestly, there's too much shit to talk about in regards to this game to condense it into 1/10 of a best of the year countdown. So as you can clearly tell, I didn't even try. I already made one video about Shadow of War, and I may make another in the future, but as of now, I can confidently say with an air of finality that... the game's okay. Gravity Rush 2 is about 2B, a scantily clad combat android fighting for the glory of— wait, what's going on here? No, but really, Gravity Rush 2 is a game about... I skipped all the cutscenes, so I'm not sure what to say here. To be honest, I just saw a game where I could jump really high, and I bought it. Gravity Rush 2 is the best superhero game of 2017. It's also the most entertaining and out-there free-roam game of 2017, priding itself on its incredibly satisfying and one-of-a-kind traversal mechanics, in which the main character shifts gravity to her liking. The mechanics aren't super intricate or anything, but that's more than made up for by the incredible world design and the raw entertainment value of being able to fuck with gravity at will and ruin everybody's day. This is the kind of game that you can play for hours and make zero progress in, and you know what? That's awesome, because sometimes I need a game where I can just jump. I can just stare at the screen and I can forget that the world is actually on fire and that we're slowly drifting towards a Mega City 1-ass Judge Dredd dystopia filled with bigotry and suffering, and I can just jump. Look at that cute little anime girl, and I just want to see her jump. Oh look, she's singing. What a good singer. You go, cat. As I mentioned earlier, I love killing Nazis. If killing Nazis was an Olympic sport, I would actually watch the Olympics. 2017 was a banner year for Nazi killing, and leading the headlong charge towards the Tiki Torch Whites was none other than BJ Blazkowicz, protagonist of Wolfenstein 2: The New Order. Who the fuck would have thought a guy named BJ Blazkowicz would be one of the best protagonists of this generation? Not me, but here we are, and really not enough can be said for Brian Bloom's performance as BJ, an actor previously best known for his starring role as Bandit in Bandit, Bandit, Bandit. Much like the first entry in this newly rebooted Wolfenstein series, I don't think the gameplay is the highlight here. BJ may be a super terror killer bomber, but he was also apparently born with glass bones and paper skin, and subsequently can absorb about as many shots as any character in a Call of Duty cutscene. No, the highlight here is being able to see off-the-wall shit like the Johnny Carson show if it was run by Nazis, or Hitler crying and pissing himself and shooting a young Ronald Reagan in the face like 60 times, or watching a woman just whip them titties out, because why not? When was the last time you saw a woman casually breastfeed in a video game? Never, motherfucker, you have never seen that happen. I guess this is progress. And speaking of the woman attached to those titties, the supporting cast is made up of some of the most entertaining video game personalities I've encountered in recent memory. Grace Walker, man. Grace fucking Walker is dope. Ferguson and his tactless robot arm are great. I love Bombate and his useful crocodile-related tips. Super Spesh was hilarious. Oh, fuck. Wolfenstein 2 is a rock-solid first-person shooter with personality in spades, and is more than worth your time. Just sad we didn't get a Richard Spencer cameo.
forgot that was there.
I'm a sucker for these goddamn superheroes, guys. You put a man in tights in front of me, and I'll just instinctively start throwing money at him, and you can take that however you want. If I had to sum up this game's roster in one word, it would be eccentric, and I absolutely love it! I never thought I would be blessed by the gods enough to get my hands on a game that features C-grade motherfuckers like Dr. Fate, Gorilla Grodd, and Captain Cold. They put fucking Captain Cold in this game! And then you add Hellboy and the fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Mwah! Buenissimo! The mechanics of Injustice 2 are tighter than Selena Kyle's butt straps, and now that the first Injustice proved its potential with solid sales and the A-Team at NetherRealm was actually working on the series, it doesn't look like a fucking PS2 game anymore. Batman's head isn't a square, and he doesn't look like an action figure that you fucked up too many times and just can't take out of this weird position. One of the main problems I had with the first Injustice was the fact that the movesets didn't really reflect the character's unique abilities as well as they should have. There was a lot of generic face punching and face kicking. Injustice 2 alleviates this with movesets that feature some of the coolest strings I've ever seen in a fighting game. Something that really allows every character to shine just as brightly as they deserve to. The gear system is a really cool addition, but it's also clearly still a work in progress. I feel like a good example of this is the fact that NetherRealm promised us one specific piece of gear like 6 months ago, and they still haven't put it out. It's one hood, guys. I know you could do that in an afternoon. What, are you waiting for the fucking Ultimate Edition? But besides minimal post-launch support and an awful lot of questionable gear choices like Hellboy's glam rock pants or Black Manta's assless chaps, I feel like the gear system mostly achieved what it set out to, and did a pretty solid job for a first attempt. There were also microtransactions, but we're not going to talk about those because we're all just trying to have a good time here. Yooka-Laylee is the game everyone was waiting for. Finally, a new kids game with tight controls and a quick wit that simultaneously innovates and pays homage to the classics of the genre that we treasure so much. It's colorful, it's crazy, and this doesn't feel right. Am I missing something right now? Give me a second here. I'm talking about a Hat in Time right now, sorry about that. Yes, Yooka and Laylee can suck a big fat bag of dicks because Hat Kid came in and flattened their asses like a linebacker by delivering one of the most entertaining and well-designed non-Nintendo Kids games I've played in many years. This game is pure, concentrated joy. Everything about this game just feels so right, from the wonderfully precise 3D platforming to the wacky variety of equipable hats and badges that come with new abilities to the exceedingly endearing protagonist. I have a working theory that Hat Kid might actually be the most adorable goddamn character that has ever been crafted by human hands. It's like someone took 1,000 puppies and crushed them into a human form, which when saying it sounds like some shit out of Agony, so I probably could have phrased that better. If you were born between the years of 1990 and 1999, I can pretty much guarantee you're gonna bust fat nuts over this game. A Hat in Time is a masterfully crafted love letter to the games that introduced me to the majesty of this medium. Super Mario Sunshine, Banjo-Tooie, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, it's all in there, you can feel it, but you could also never mistake A Hat in Time for any of those other games. It's built a wholly unique, wholly adorable as all good fuck identity for itself without using these classics as a crutch, while still paying homage. Seek this one out, guys, it's a damn good way to spend 30 bucks. Nier Automata made me feel things. It made me feel a whole lot of things. Nier Automata is a game that made me think. Nier Automata— It's Automata, you dumb fuck! Oh, okay, so it's Automata? Okay, I've been saying it this way for a year. You have to give me a second here. I'm just gonna repeat it a bunch of times. I'm just gonna drill it into my head. Automata. 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 I got it. Nier Automata is a fuck. I wish I could feel what I felt in Nier's final hours once more. I played that game for like 12 straight hours. I pretty much cut through the last half of that story in a day, and by the end, I was a wreck! I was not ready for this shit! Nier is a game full of nutso-ass plot twists and turns, but the real twist here is that the game you thought was just a fun, crazy Japanese action romp is actually the most depressing goddamn thing you will ever see, and it will fuck you without mercy. If you're the kind of person that gets emotionally invested in fictional characters, do not play Nier.
you're gonna have a bad time.
But, let me just say this, any game can make you feel things. Hell, every game on this list is on this list, particularly because it elicited some sort of emotional response from me. Emotional responses are easy. What's not easy is to create a game that really makes the player think about their place in the world, about the meaning of their very existence. Nier Automata is a piece of art that is completely unafraid to tackle scary, complicated subjects and confront the player with questions that nobody has the answer to, much less this fucking guy. I'm gonna keep the spoilers as light as possible, but to give you a brief story synopsis, you play as 2B, a combat android with a name that, as I found on the wiki, actually stands for booties and breastises. 2B and her little chibi boy toy are partnered soldiers in a never-ending war for the conquest of Earth against machines that were sent here by aliens to destroy humanity. I bet you're already confused, so I'm just gonna stop there. Play Nier Automata. God fucking! Point is, you run around post-apocalyptic Earth and you talk to people and machines and you do stuff and things, and I don't want to talk about it because I'll start to cry. Something I can talk about without crying are the game's miscellaneous NPCs, a topic that's rarely worthy of discussion. Most games just throw out a truckload of blank slate-ass Preston Garveys and expect you to give a shit by the end, but not Nier. No, I spent literally hours walking around trying to find motherfuckers to talk to in Nier. I will now read you some of my favorite NPC voice lines from Nier, because most of them don't actually have voices in the game. I promise this is worth your time. This is exclusive content. You're not gonna get this anywhere else.
Yahoo! Stamps! Stamps, stamps, stamps! What's stamp coming up? Oh yeah, I love stamps! Let's do this thing! Back off, asshole! When machines are alive, you got that? You should die! All of you should die! And this goddamn stamp should die too! Break time! Get away from me!
Nier Automata is a beautiful slice of gaming brilliance. It makes you think about your actions. It makes you laugh like a loon and bawl like a bitch. It makes you consider your place on this earth and the way you relate to others. And this is all without even talking about the giant fucking swords and big ass booties, which are pretty cool too.